Future. I'm just living it. My name is Peter Freedman. I'm the Managing Director of RØDE Microphones here in Sydney. RØDE Microphones is a specialist company producing all sorts of microphones and accessories. We cover broadcast, studio, film, television, all those areas. We started off making mainly studio mics, but now we cover pretty well everything, even live performance, and we manufacture them here in Sydney. There was no plan. People say, oh, you planned to build RØDE microphones and come up with this thing. No, I didn't. Not at all. It was just, I had this sample microphone that I'd bought in China in 1981, which has nothing to do with what I did. I pulled it out, I could get them, we changed electronics, and I sent one of my sales guys out, I had one guy, and he came back and said, oh, a lot of people are interested in this. And that's how RØDE started. It was just nothing. And I thought, oh, that's cool, sell a few of those. And came up with the RØDE name. It was, he said, the guy came back and said, oh, these are going to sell like as fast as a rat goes up a drain pipe. He's a pommy guy. And so we thought, oh yeah, we'll call them rodents. That's where RØDE comes from, RØDE NT. I dreamt at that time, I thought, if we can sell 500 mics a year, I'll have made it, we'll have done it. And I think we'll do about 600,000 this year. We have a few offices around the world. The main factory here is in Sydney. We don't produce anything in other countries other than maybe large tooling to work with our injection moulding machines, etc. We have an office in the United States, which is a marketing office. I have 20 people there. I have another marketing office in China, which I opened in Shenzhen last year. And there's about 6 people there, because China for us is, I predict it to be bigger than the US within 5 years, which is an amazing thing to say, but it's already incredible. There's some smaller offices with a couple of people in South America as well, and we intend moving into other places in South Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines as well as we go further up. Japan's very strong for us. We will be doing an office in Korea as well. The free trade agreements is opening up some amazing opportunities for us. We spent a lot of time thinking about what's happening technologically in the industry. I am probably seen as arrogant, but I say that we aren't following it, we're setting the trend. We're making the future, not wondering where it's going to go. And that's because we are in that position. We can do a lot of R&D, which will come up in 5 years' time. And so people are playing catch up to us. The areas that I'm focusing on now are very much into the additive manufacturing. And I'm excited by that, in that it's a very egalitarian thing, because anybody can do a design at home on a computer, but there's still some barriers there, because the real good machines, the metal fusion machines and the high-end plastics machines, are still very expensive. They're multi-million-dollar machines. We still use subtractive technology with machining, but very high precision, sub-micron tolerances, and that will continue. All those companies making those machines, they're not giving up. They're going a combination of additive and machining, so we're in that as well. I look at robotics. We do incredible amounts of robotics. That's how we're able to manufacture in Australia. And I'm actually going in about 3 weeks' time to Seiko Epson in Japan, in Nagano, and they have these little 7-axis robots. They look like ET. They're awesome, and they can assemble watches with these things. They're that precise, picking up screws and little eyes and the whole lot. You have a line of these things. Now people might say, well, that's taking away work from people. It's not true, because they can do things that you cannot do as a human being. Same as some of the other machines that I do. And we have 150 staff in Sydney, and we'll end up with 300 in the next couple of years, because there are things I still want to do with manual labour, quality control, some things that can't be done with robots, but we'll have a lot more robots as well. So that's, with technology, with production systems, all that, that's where we're keeping up with the latest. As well as that, the other thing in electronics, making our own integrated circuits. We're not doing it, but I'm working on it now. That's big money. You're talking millions of dollars, but there's a very famous guy in our industry, and he said, "He who tools rules," and that's kind of where I want to be. We look at all areas of improvement in technology and in production processes, so we can produce products now that are so far superior to what was available 3 years ago at 10 times the money. That's the exciting thing. Here is a $100 microphone that you would have paid $1,000 for. Why? Because we've tooled up, we've got the machinery, and they used to make matched microphones where somebody would run a whole lot, pick them, test them, and eventually those two are matched. Mine are all matched. They're all the same. So, that's the process side of it. And then, of course, being able to have the measurement equipment. We have a full metrology lab, being able to measure down to 10 nanometers on some of the metal work that we do. And I even just installed an anechoic chamber. I don't know if you know what an anechoic chamber is, but it's a room where there's no reflections, acoustic reflections, and you can test your microphones in that environment, so the accuracy of the test is what's perfect. And it's, by the time it's finished, it's like, $800,000 room. And I did it because I can. You would never do it. Nobody would ever let you do it. But every time I have that, I move further and further away from my opposition, and we get better quality. To ask whether there are any challenges being in Australia, I don't see any problems here. I mean, I like it that we're removed from the rest of the world. We have an intelligent workforce. It's a beautiful country to live in. There's no barriers to exporting, and the container ships or containers come in and they go out empty, so my freight out is very low. I can send something to LA lower than I can send it to Perth. So there's no barrier there at all. It's easy. No, there's no issues. We import components, of course, because nothing's made here. Of course, we make the metalwork here, but electronics is all imported. But those prices, it's a level playing field. We make electronics cheaper at our factory than they do in China because I've got the machines. I've just installed another big line. It's called an SMT line, surface mount, and that's how they make computer boards, and you just load it up, and this thing just does it automatically. The conveyor belt's loading it all up through an oven, and there's no labour. So being in China wouldn't help you, and our quality's better. Trade agreements with China and soon, hopefully India and Korea and all this that are coming through, they're fantastic for us because it drops the cost of the product in those countries. So, well, of course, they're more accessible for people and we sell more. Our focus in those places, especially China now that I've opened my marketing office, is to push the brand, make the brand. We spend a lot of money on marketing, sales and marketing. So it's one thing to talk about high technology and machinery and all the things that we do there, but if you don't sell it, that's meaningless. You've got to sell it. You've got to market it. And I don't have a problem saying it, we're awesome at selling. We're really good at it. Talking about, increasing sales with free trade agreements, it's incredible for us. Being able to sell into China without the duties, and they're very high. China's one of the most expensive places in the world to buy consumer goods. That's why they even come here to buy iPhones. It's hilarious. And so when those barriers drop, we'll be able to sell more product because they're cheaper there. And the same will happen in Korea and eventually when they do sign India. That's a big one for us, India, because of the potential in broadcast especially, but also consumer goods. But it's all down to marketing. That's what we're pushing very heavily as well, to make sure that the brand's known. That's why we have that marketing office in China. You can have the best technology in the world, but if you don't market it properly, you don't sell it, it doesn't really matter. And that's a huge focus for us. We're very, very good at that, just as good as we are technologically. I have my own advertising agency in-house, do our own web, graphics, film crew. In fact, we now have the world's largest short film festival. We did a competition last year and we ended up with 1,100 entries from 76 countries. And so we beat Tropfest. And that's pretty good marketing, I think. My process for decision making it could be quite different to a lot of companies. And there is rigor in what we do, but sometimes, well, I think it's not. There is. But because I've been doing it for so long, I have been in the audio industry for 40 years. because I started with my dad. And so things come, I think, naturally to me. But it's based on that that experience. You know, that old, like Michael Gladwell's the blink thing. Why do you know? You just know it, but no, you've experienced it. Keep going, keep going. And so when I come up with the product ideas, and I know the industry. I've got more product ideas than I have time left on earth, you know. And then I have a team that can work with me to, you know, make those products come to life in industrial design, electronics and acoustics. So they do start though, they come pretty simply. In the sales side of it, we've always gone out to the market. So somebody says to me, well, I want to do business in any country you can name. I just say, well, okay, you can do some research online even, the population, you know, the GDP, you can do all that, it's all available, and you should do that. You've got to look at that, it'd be crazy not to. But then you just got to go. Just buy a ticket and rock up there and walk around and talk to people, have a look at what's selling in that category, look at the prices, talk to people. You will learn more from that one trip than you could ever in any kind of calculated paperwork thing. You're not going to get it, you're going to get it from that. Then you come back and then you formulate a business plan and you try it. You just got to give it a go. You only have a limited amount of resources, that's the hard part, you know. And I've been guilty of doing too many things at once, and then you end up doing nothing because you spread all your resources so thin you don't finish anything. So you have to have discipline. I find that very hard. Getting a little bit better at it. So you just got to go, yeah, they're all cool, pick one. I don't want to pick one, I'll pick 10. No, pick one and then do it. Mightn't be right, so what? And then know when to stop, know when to cut your losses. And there's one of the things we have in R&D, it's called stage gating. I don't know if you've heard of that. There's a very clever guy who developed it. It's a way of doing product development. And you have gatekeepers who allow you to start, well, you probably know the process, a product based on, you know, you calculating what it'll give you as a return. You can do stage gating in any process, even in marketing. And let's say you spend $1 million trying to enter a market and you go, no, then throw it away. Because it's cheaper to stop at $1 million than 10. And some people go, no, we've already spent $1 million, let's keep going. Well, that's really stupid. But it takes, you've got to be brave. You just got to say, no, done, I'm out, move on. It's funny, people see me as a person who's confident. I'm shy. You know, I put on a show. And I don't know, there's a movie years ago, this guy, I can't remember what it was called, I think it was All That Jazz or something, and this guy's completely trashed all the time and wakes up in the morning, all this sort of stuff. Anyway, in the end, he's get his hair up and he goes, showtime! And that's how I feel. You know, I go out there and you do that. And I play a game, and I've learned how to be a leader. And I've learned how to inspire people. It's not a natural thing, but I work at it. And I'm really hard as well, but fair. We laugh a lot. But people like leaders. They like the confidence in going, he knows where he's going, I want to go with him. It's comfortable. And I just say, you do what I tell you and we'll all do well. I'm the benevolent dictator. And that's how I inspire people. If somebody came to me just out of uni, hadn't had any experience, and they wanted a job with RØDE, if they wanted to impress me, if they just came and said, look, I don't know anything about what you do, I don't know anything about business or electronics or audio, but I am intelligent and I have the basic skills, maths, English, I can do all that, and I'm willing to learn and I'll work hard. You got the job. Because everybody can learn and nobody's born with knowledge. But that's the attitude. You know, nobody starts off knowing it. It's the big problem when people come in with this, you know, they think they're awesome and they know everything. It's like, oh man, boy, you're going to find out. You know? So yeah, that's it. Pretty simple. Being open and knowing that you've got a lot to learn and not being fearful of saying you don't know. Be honest. And it's hard. And I did an interview the other day, and they asked me this question. I don't know anything about it. So I thought, I haven't got a clue. But when you're young, you sort of pretend, oh yes, and then you start and you feel yourself falling off the cliff because you're trying to say stuff about something you know nothing about, and then you hang yourself. Better off going, no, sorry, no idea. Tell me. And then usually the person asking the question says, I don't know either. And then it's kind of funny. But yeah, never pretend you know something, and yeah, you'll learn, you'll advance yourself, and you get good at it. In any job in our company, because we do all sorts of all areas, acoustics, electronics, media, everything. And somebody comes and they've got some knowledge, let's say. I would say that the way to get ahead, again, is to say, okay, I think I can do this. Would you like me to do that? Constantly putting yourself forward and then asking questions. You know, what do you think of this? I can do this. You know, being really open. Open is awesome. And if you go to a company and they're kind of weirdos and they knock you down for that, then leave. Good people will never have a problem with that. They'll always see it and help you advance. They're the real people. There's lots of companies like that. It's just be confident in yourself to say that this is what I can do, this is what I want to learn, and then ask questions. You know, I think I did this right. Is that all right? That kind of attitude. And I got a young guy who started with me as an intern recently. He'd just finished his mechanical engineering degree and never had a job. Came in there for I think 3 months, and awesome, got a job. He's spectacular. Just blew my mind how good he was, you know. But he came, I didn't want, you know, it's like, oh, all right, yeah, you know, come in, we'll see. So yeah, he did the right thing, didn't he? I think. Yeah, tried hard.